You now want to introduce Anthony Miranda of the National Latino Officers Association, which represents thousands of police officers in the tri-state region, to give his perspective on the report.
Good morning. Again, my name is Anthony Miranda. I represent the National Latino Officers Association, over 10,000 law enforcement members in city, state, and federal government. We are an organization that represents law enforcement officers and works to bridge the gap between law enforcement and community residents. We made a decision to be here today to ensure that the Southern Poverty Law Center's report is that important to our community. Isolation of any community, especially immigrant community, Latinos, is a deterrent to crime fighting. Right? Any law enforcement mechanism, any political elected official understands that communication is of utmost importance in every community. When we isolate communities or they have fear about reporting crimes, then therefore we become ineffective as law enforcement officers. What we have seen here is a pattern of behavior which is isolated in community, which enhances criminality and does not allow good law enforcement tactics. It's incumbent upon the police department to be active in their role to ensure that the community knows that they should never be asked about their immigration status and that immigrants do not have to fear that question. It's equally important to know that they have to ensure that officers are not engaging in what we would call illegal activity. That would be considered illegal. There has to be a codification in law enforcement where they will hold officers accountable when they proceed to ask victims of a crime what their immigration status is. Just that question alone is intimidating, and that is why you have a number of issues going unreported and under the radar. This promotes, this type of climate here in Suffolk County promotes criminality. Illegal crimes go on, and it victimizes an entire community. When we stand here, we say, again, I think it was said very clearly, this is not, all law enforcement officers are not bad, but there has to be a greater sensitivity to the immigrant population that is here and asking the proper questions so that they can do proper investigations. Immigration status is not one of them. Quite often when we see these assaults, we always associate it with day laborers. It's not an immigration problem. This is a criminal problem. When we allow it to happen in one part of our communities, we'll go from what quote unquote we want to say are illegal immigrants or day laborers to professional Hispanics, and then who's next? As human beings, we have to be alarmed in Suffolk County and throughout the United States that these things are allowed to happen. As Latinos, we say we need to alarm our professional Latinos and say that we must continue to identify with every single Latino in our community. No one is dispensable. And therefore, as professionals, as our political leaders, we need to unite in that fight and ensure that both the crime fighting that is necessary, when we enhance crime fighting from one community, we enhance it for all our communities. That's the message that has to be put out there. So when we isolate a community, we are victimizing the entire Suffolk County area. All other neighborhoods become victims at the same time. So when we address the issues of the person who can't defend themselves, then we are essentially defending the issues of every single human being in Suffolk County. That has to be the message that goes from here. As law enforcement officers, we call on Hispanic law enforcement officers, professional law enforcement officers, minority law enforcement officers, and officers who believe in their careers and their jobs to act more effectively in sharing the message in our community that you must take the report seriously. When people complain, we have to understand that it's a serious issue. We have to ensure that a report is taken. Patterns develop because reports are taken. When we don't take information down, when there's a system that fails to document these cases, then therefore there can be no established pattern, there can be no effective crime strategy to defend against this type of abuse. Discrimination against any community should never be allowed. And in Suffolk County, we have a powerful Latino community of professionals and elected officials, and we shouldn't isolate just them and hold them accountable. We need to hold everyone else accountable as well, and saying it's time to stand united with the good law enforcement officers, with good, effective crime-fighting strategies to prevent this from happening to any other person. There should be no other victim. It's unfortunate that we had to wait to a point that somebody had to lose their life to find out that there are hundreds of other cases that have gone unreported. That is a tragedy that another incident happened 100 feet from the death of Marcelo. It's a tragedy that we as a community, professional law enforcement officers, professional Hispanics, and residents of Suffolk County having stood up long before this and said that we had enough. So we stand with this report. We encourage the people to come out to the Hate Crimes Task Force hearings that are being held in Suffolk County. This is an overall pattern. It establishes that somebody independent from Suffolk County has come out and documented things, so they can't be criticized as being part of the political process. They were independent, they took an unbiased approach to gathering information, and they have now well documented the tragedies that are going on here. So when we go to these Hate Crimes Task Force, it's a different approach, because now we're looking for solutions to the problem. Other solutions that can be implemented, which we have control of, which we can mandate law enforcement to be more effective in their reporting and taking information. So we encourage everyone that's out there, victim, witness, or otherwise, to ensure that you come out to these hearings and let your voices be heard. Do not be intimidated by anyone or any group. And us as the National Latino Officers Association, if you have any problems, we stand with the people that are here, and we will be at those hearings supporting you and ensuring that your voices are heard and adequately documented. So we thank you for having us here this evening. Thank you.